On the 17th of December 2020, I'd written to Action Fraud, and they'd put me in touch with an officer in Executor police station. When he rang me up, he said, I hear you've been hacked or something like that, and he said who he was, and I said that I wanted to speak to someone from CID because I thought that they were more qualified to deal with to do with hacking. Anyway, he said that he was in an office next door to CID, these are his exact words, and that he was as good as any person to deal with hacking. Anyway, so I told him all about it, and after Christmas in 2021, 19th of April 2021, he sent me this letter back to say that the investigation had been done and it had all been filed, but he didn't actually look at my evidence. I sent him a WeTransfer file which he didn't open because it tells you that whether it's been opened or not, and all the evidence that I sent him he didn't look at, but I can prove that I was being hacked by these certain people. So this is the letter continued, and it says, as to previous email in relation to report seeking advice to hang on a minute, blah blah blah, seek advice from a solicitor who dealt with your mother's will. If you feel you were entitled to money from your mother's estate that you have not received, they will be able to address this accordingly. I appreciate that you have concerns around the email address being hacked. Well, the thing with the will, I'm going to go say this first of all. The will that I was shown, that they said the April the 1st will, 2017. My mum couldn't write in 2017 at all. She was tested for dementia in 2016, and she couldn't write then. She couldn't write in 2017. This is what makes me think that it's a fake. The other reason is that I went and spoke to my mum's best friends, and I asked them if they signed any paperwork in 2017, as it's their names on the will that I think's a fake, in 2017, and they went and looked in their diary and they said no, they didn't sign any paperwork at all in 2017. So it makes it more suspicious. My mum told me that she changed her will in 2012, but the will that was put through had my mum's signature at the end and her best friend's co-sign name on the end of that, and that was 2017, but mum couldn't write in 2017. I'm just showing you the rest of this letter, and it says this is the officer who's filed the report, even though he didn't look at the evidence that I supplied him with, but it does say that this is the letter from the police, that the breach was made in 2016, and that the person wouldn't have known me, and it was to do with lots of other people. But if they'd have looked at the evidence that I'd supplied them with, I can prove that it's the person, the people that I know that have been hacking me, and I have the evidence, and the evidence is on here. But nobody is looking at it, and this is the police, and the police didn't look at it, or this policeman didn't look at it, so I sent in a report against this police officer, and I had a reply email from the police. This officer, as I say, isn't a CID officer, he was just an ordinary officer. I just want to put that in there, and I did make a formal complaint about him, and I received an email back from the formal complaints people, police people, and they're not going to do anything, and so there you go. So as I said, if the policeman had actually looked into it, and if he'd have spoken to the solicitor whose name is on this letter, 24th of March 2020, and this is my old Virgin email address, which I couldn't use. I hadn't used it for 10 or 15 years, and I couldn't use it because the password had been changed. If you look at my hacking video, it's all about this on there. And this is the letter that was sent to this other solicitor, and it says only email. They were trying to sue me for something, and it says only email via this email address. Now, if the police had spoken to the solicitors of this letter, then they would have been able to find out the truth about it, but the police officer didn't do anything. And this is my old email address. As I say, I haven't been able to use it because the password had been changed to a 14-digit number, when I know it was only foolish, but it was only done as a 6 or 7-digit number. It's all in the hacking videos. But the reason that all of this has gone so far is because the police wouldn't look into these things. They said that the solicitor had to do it. I hired a solicitor. They were Every's solicitor, and I looked into everything. And I looked into this hacked email address, and I tried to put it through the police, and the police did nothing, and they lost this evidence. This is proof. Like I say, all they'd have to do is speak to the solicitor on this letter. So the hospital records, this was put into the hospital records, but this is altered, I think. Now, I've seen the one that was on the letter, the original letter when my mum got tested for dementia. All the numbers, this says that the paperwork's upside down, and the paperwork that my mum wrote on, I don't believe it was upside down. And all the numbers that I saw were below 3 and 9. Now this one here, these ones that are here, the 5, the 4, the whatever, they weren't there. I've not seen them. These have been added to, but they weren't on there. But this was 2016, and my mum couldn't write in 2016. As I say, that 5, that 4, they've been added to it. But my mum's numbers were these ones up around here, but they were up the other way as well. And it's like I say, it was weird. It looks like it's been reversed upside down. But my mum couldn't write in 2016, she couldn't write in 2017, and so I'm just saying that this is from 2016. So the will's co-signed by mum's best friends in 2017, but my mum couldn't write